Thank you very much, Mr. Saul. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. I know that some people may want to stand, but I can assure you that this is only a feature on paper because you had the feature already. I want to first thank all who are involved in our educational system for believing that change is possible, and for believing that in all that we do, that we must be focused on the well-being and the welfare of our children. You have heard this evening an extraordinary set of testimonials and presentations. And I want to salute each and every one because I know that in many instances there has been significant sacrifice over the course of the last 18 months to get us where we are. I ask myself, will education reform be easy? The answer is no. Will it be complex? Of course. But is it worth it? Absolutely. And why? We've often heard that if you think education is expensive, try ignorance. Try ignorance. We have reached a point in our country's history, and you heard it from the Chief Education Officer and the Minister of Education. You heard it from Dr. Denny, that we have but no choice to move, not to reform, but to transform our educational system. There are very few countries in the world that a car bought in 1965 can still carry the person safely in 2023. A system rooted in the 1940s educational reform of Britain was made for a colonial empire and not for a country that was seeking to see every citizen, hear every citizen, and feel every citizen. And we've known that. And many of the things that you heard from this platform, regrettably, we have spoken about over and over and over across ministers of education. We've started, we've stopped. And therefore I come this afternoon with a very simple message. That my responsibility as Prime Minister of this country is to begin the process of ensuring partnership to secure the victory. The victory is not for anything other than the nation state of Barbados and its children. And hopefully, the nation state of this country will contribute also to global equity, fairness, and opportunity. I say so, conscious that every minister of education, particularly in the post-independence period, has had to contend with fighting up for how it can and how they could reposition the sector against all the competing demands of the nation. My responsibility, therefore, is to tell you that we are ready. And we are ready to build the partnerships, recognizing that it will only be a whole-of-nation approach that will make the difference this time around. Recognizing that the partnerships will come with entities outside of Barbados, as we have already established with XQ Foundation, who have agreed to build the 2 new secondary schools for us once the government provides the land, as we have already started to do, purchasing the site of the old Ursuline Convent and purchasing the site at Chelston in order to build a school that is focused also on preparing students in the specialist areas for the blue-green economy, should that be the wish of Barbadians. That the partnership will also come in twinning Urdeston Teachers Training College with an Ivy League school, to be able to ensure that the capacity constraints of Urdeston and Barbados with a declining population do not undermine our ability to do what you heard here this evening. Because if we are to be the best that we can be, we heard that we need to provide the leadership training and the teacher training on a continuous basis to be relevant to the times in which we live, but never leaving the values that are necessary to anchor our people with Bajan values. My friends, the partnerships within the ministries, because the Ministry of Education cannot execute this on its own. They will need almost every other ministry in this country if they are to be successful in ensuring that we can roll out this program over the course of the next few years. The partnerships with the Barbadian households and communities. This is not about school children alone. This is not even about parents alone. It's about living in a safe society. It's about living in a healthy country. It is about doing the things that are necessary to allow our people to guarantee that Mission 2030 is possible, but beyond that, that we can, for the first time as an independent country, give ourselves the assurance that we are truly making each child matter for that firm foundation that is necessary for this country to move to the next level. Yes, this is about decolonizing education. Don't let us forget that. This is the country that in 1661 in the Parliament passed the legislation that said that people that looked like you and me were not to be treated as humans. And as much as we have removed the legislative inequity, there are still mental barriers that have now to be deconstructed. A few weeks ago when I met with Barbadians in the diaspora in New York at St. Francis College, I asked a simple question: how many people in this room, there were about 400 or 500 people, how many Bajans in this room left Barbados feeling that they needed to have another chance to be able to access education or training and not to be constrained by the judgment of somebody else about what school they went to or what school tie they had or what they could achieve or not achieve in life? And it hurt my heart when 2/3 of the room put up their hands. This country cannot keep exporting some of its best talent simply because we have not given them the chance to be the best that they can be in the land of their birth. It cannot be. So my friends, this is going to require a very comprehensive and detailed exercise. And I believe that this country is up to the task. Have we seen perfection along the way? No, we have not. But the last time I checked, perfection belonged to the divine. And to the rest of us, perseverance and persistence is our lot, because we can do better each time and we can learn better. Accountability must be our hallmark. Excellence must be the road that we want to trod. And I have the difficult task of ensuring that we come to work each and every day to make the resources available. I have already met with the Ministry of Finance and Economic Affairs and Minister Strawn to indicate that this project of education transformation must take priority in the public sector investment program, along with water and along with other key things that this country must have. We have had a difficult period, yes, but we believe that we have shepherded the economy to the point, not where it is at perfection, but where it gives us some elbow room to be able to undertake, both at the level of debt and at the level of recurring expenditure, critical decisions. By the same token, there are things that we must rationalize. And by the same token, there is more that we must put in the system if we are to get out better and more effective. I believe equally that there are some things, as you heard from the Chief, that do not need to wait to September 2025. You may ask, why haven't you seen which schools are being proposed for which yet? Because there must be an audit to ensure that the determination as to which schools can be specialist schools allows us to be able to meet reality with ambition and ensuring, therefore, that we can move and make the changes so that when we say we are offering you and twinning you with institutions of excellence, that we can truly do so. We have started the training. We have started also the discussions with respect to those institutions for Urdistan. But what now remains is for the Barbadian public to decide whether we want to go for gold or whether we want to settle for less. We believe that the consultations of the last 18 months can allow us to go for gold. And we believe that the bondage, as you heard from the Minister of Education, that has attached itself to a class system and to an exclusionary system cannot be part of our future. But however much we believe it, it is for Barbadians to accept it. And that is why the next 10, 12 weeks will be critical in the conversations. You have heard much this afternoon. And you can't digest and make decisions on that just because of one presentation this afternoon. And therefore, we want to encourage through the media, through the communities, through every area where Barbadians gather, that we have this discussion. We accept that there will be some for whom change is not a natural response. But I ask ourselves to pause and to reflect on the fact, as I said earlier, that if we feel change is difficult, try keeping the status quo and see what happens to us. Doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result is the definition of madness. And if we believe that those children who are now crying out for relevance or for a job or for the reinforcement of their national identity or for the reinforcement of their values and character, if you believe that they deserve a chance, not a second chance, but a first chance, then I ask you please to reach out and to be part and parcel of this change. The funding models for education will have to change. This notion that we can just do per capita provision, equally dividing a cake irrespective of the needs of individuals, cannot work. And we need, therefore, to be able to assess on the basis of that equity in order to provide. My friends, for me, this is a deeply, deeply emotional moment. Because I know in my heart of hearts that as leader of this country, if there is one thing that is going to make the defining difference to Barbados embracing its future and to each Barbadian child being given that chance regardless of their circumstances of birth, regardless of their capacity at birth, it is going to be the policy that we settle. And we understand that the inequities that have clothed the system in the past, like the disparity between the pay of principals at primary and secondary, the inequity that has clothed the system in the past because of the consolidation of all of the well-being of teachers and principals and everybody in one system, meaning that there is no responsiveness to people's needs. But equally, the absence of accountability. These things must now be put in one pot, and we must be ready to take it on if we are to make that definable difference. I want to thank the former ministers of education on both sides. And I've been able to reach out to almost all of you. And in particular, I want to say that it is my judgment that there is nothing that divides us fundamentally on this. 80% of what you heard is not controversial. There may be a few that will be controversial, and that we need to discuss as a mature nation and a mature people. But I pray that we will have the courage to take the steps to put behind us a legacy that was imposed on us to divide us, to keep us down, and that we will be able to recognize that our duty is to see that there is no politics nor no partisanship in education. Because regardless of who stands here, the task of lifting this country up remains the same. And if the people who are needed to be able to be part of that coalition of the willing to lift Barbados up do not have the capacity or the confidence so to do, it matters not who stands where I stand today. I say so, therefore, conscious that when we in good faith say that this must be embraced by all, and I thank the ministry also for consulting with the opposition, but I go further and make the point that as chair of the Oversight Committee, as you heard from Dr. Denny, that I am ensuring that the offer to participate equally be made to the opposition in the management, because a time will come when this country will have different governments and different people. And what must not happen is that we miss the boat again and sacrifice tens of thousands of Barbadians because we've allowed the colonizers to win and to continue to rule with a system that was never designed for us and that is only intended to divide and rule. I pray that the children of independence of this great nation will therefore rise together and allow us to have a unified and common approach to building out a system to make it better for each and every Barbadian. Or as the minister so poignantly shared with us, to ensure that it is not just the lucky few who get to walk the road to victory. If we can do that, my friends, much else of what we have done will matter to sectors here and sectors there, and a few there and a few here. But if we can do that, we not only change the course of history, but we change the opportunities and allow Barbadians to be owners in their own land, not tenants, and to be global citizens, never forgetting from whence we have come. I ask Bajans, listen, talk about it, from the churches to the shops, to the homes, to the communities, to the workplace. But when all is said and done, we must, by the end of this year, be ready to say what we are going with. And I will pray every night that it will be for us to go for gold. Not because it is easy to get there, but because it is where we must land. It is ironic that the last meeting I had before coming into this room was with our brilliant Barbadian daughter, Sade Williams. And that she last night brought me to tears when I heard her say on the news that while others applaud her for attaining bronze, that she knows that she has it in her and she felt she could have done better and that she will do better. That is the spirit of Barbados. And if we can go for gold, then I say to you that the dreams and aspirations of all who went before, from the leaders to those who worked in the fields, from those whose children received a better education than them and counted among the lucky few while their brothers and sisters watched them and had to depend on the mercy and charity of them wanting to keep families together to lift the whole family. If we can do what we have to do now, then I assure us that the future is not only bright for every child, but the future shall be secured and bright for our nation. God bless Barbados, and let us to the task have the conversation of our times, the most consequential conversation of us as an independent republic. I ask every Barbadian to rise to the occasion. Thank you.